Metal detectors going in one metro high school after a deadly shooting. The parents who say this is not nearly enough.
Hundreds of students making their voices heard at the state capitol. Their message to lawmakers.
How old is your sister?
She's 17 years old.
Absolute fear inside Antioch High School. The calls for help after the deadly gunfire.
Getting the attention of the FBI, the online action leading to the arrest of a mid-state teen.
One of the largest reported cases of sexual misconduct in military history. The doctor under fire. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
They should be in every single school, but yet they are not.
Continuing coverage on the deadly shooting last week at Antioch High School. Local parents are now demanding school leaders do more, and they are specifically asking for metal detectors.
Well, the district now plans to put in a specialized weapons detection system, but in only one school. Fox 17 News, Karen Aguilar joining us live outside Antioch High School, the only building to see this upgrade.
That's right, Megan. The Metro School spokesperson tells me that Antioch High School is the first school to pilot the system. But parents in other schools tell me they don't want to have to wait to have the same safety. A new safety tool at Antioch High School following last week's deadly shooting. This is video of students doing a walkthrough of what to expect Tuesday when the Involve Weapons Detection System goes online. The company says their tech goes beyond traditional metal detectors, allowing students to keep their personal items like keys with them. This installation, a complete 180 by Metro Schools, after the school's director, Adrienne Battle, said metal detectors created, quote, unintended consequences.
Mainly when you think about the types of learning environments we want for our students. I mean, the first person we want our students to interact with are their principals and their teachers and their fellow students.
Antioch High School student Bryson Williams, who took part in the run-through, says safety needs to be the first priority.
It didn't make me feel uncomfortable at all. It actually made me feel a lot more safer.
Other MNPS parents want the same for their children. Sulma Torres' son goes to Maplewood High School. For me, it's not okay. It has to be in all of the schools because there are other kids at risk in the schools. She says Metro schools need to be proactive and not reactionary. MNPS parent T.C. Weber echoes that.
You know, what are we going to wait till another kid gets shot and then we'll roll out the pilot program to that school?
A spokesperson for Metro Schools says they need to gather data and info from the pilot program for, quote, logistical and funding plans with the support of the Board of Education, end quote, before putting the system in all schools.
It's past the time to pilot. It's time to make sure kids are safe.
School board members tell me that they will most likely discuss the AI weapons detection system tomorrow at other schools for their board meeting. Reporting live in Antioch, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. As we continue our coverage, metal detectors not the only change coming to Antioch High School. Metro Police announced they're adding a third permanent school resource officer there tomorrow, effective tomorrow. Now, 2 uniformed officers are assigned for every Metro High School. Police Chief John Drake says that the third officer at Antioch provides for more visibility and the opportunity for relationship building at this very large high school.
As students prepare to go back to Antioch High School tomorrow, some students in the cafeteria during last week's shooting are sharing their stories at the state capitol.
It was me and my friend, and we were stuck in a corner. We were piled on by multiple people. It was insane to fathom because we had nowhere else to go. We had no one to lean on but ourselves. We had nothing to protect ourselves.
Some Antioch High School students joined the Tennessee chapter of Students Demand Action in a rally today, hoping to pressure lawmakers to draft, file, fund, and approve new measures to reduce gun violence in schools and keep kids safe. Laws that go beyond just arming teachers in schools.
Now, when we reached out to state lawmakers about safety improvements, some told us some of the responsibility lies with parents.
Parents, I think that it's going to be up to you to be a lot more forceful in what you're doing with your firearms at home.
Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen at the Capitol today with more from both parents and lawmakers.
Hundreds of students were here at the Capitol steps calling for gun safety measures. Now this comes as investigators are still working to figure out how the Antioch High School shooter got access to a gun in the first place. It's a sight we've seen before at the Capitol after the Covenant School mass shooting. Hundreds of students calling for stricter gun control measures. And it's happening again, this time after police say a 17-year-old Antioch High School student shot and killed 16-year-old Jocelyn Coria Escalante before killing himself. Zara Niazi is a senior at Antioch High School.
I want to see just more protection in school, more care for students, because most schools, they just care about scores, attendance.
The students are calling for red flag laws and universal background checks. While some student ralliers feel metal detectors and SROs are great resources, some say they're not enough. Tashayla Height is also a student at Antioch High School who was right by the shooter when it all happened.
People need to put away guns, especially around kids.
So, will lawmakers respond? Are you willing to work with students on any of these proposals? How would you respond to their calls for action?
I'm always willing to have these dialogues across the board to say, what is it that we can do to engage, and not only just the students, which I'm proud that they're here, but across to the teachers and across the parents to say, parents, I think that it's going to be up to you to be a lot more forceful in what you're doing with your firearms at home.
Senator Mark Pody is part of the Republican supermajority and represents Wilson County and parts of Davidson County. He believes there is a mental health crisis in this country.
Whether it be metal detectors, whether it be, and I actually did some things that was going to be alert systems where a teacher would be able to just hit a button and that alert would go off.
Meanwhile, Democratic Representative John Ray Clemens hopes one child's death is too many for his colleagues across the aisle.
I own firearms myself, and I take it upon myself. I take that extra duty to make sure that they don't get into the wrong hands. And so we need to make sure that we're all just, acting responsibly.
Now, students at Antioch High School plan to return to school tomorrow with a new weapons detection system. Now, many of those students who I spoke with today at the rally tell me they're afraid to go back to school. Reporting outside the Capitol, I'm Amanda Chen, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And you can see more video of the rally today on the Fox Nashville YouTube channel. And while you're there, we invite you to become a subscriber.
Well, we want to know what you think tonight in our X poll. We're asking the question, do you think the addition of AI weapons detection technology is enough to keep students safe from a school shooting? 123 people voting on this tonight. 91.1% of respondents say no. 8.9% say yes. This poll is live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you over to our X page, which is, you can also find it by our handle, which is at Fox Nashville, and we'll show you updated poll results here tonight at 10.
Let's talk about your weather for January. This is pretty nice. Moderate temperatures, little sunshine. I think we should say thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll take the praise for the good weather. Yeah.
I know you're personally responsible.
That's right. Fun fact, today was actually average for this time of year.
Oh, you're kidding. So
yes.
This is what normal is.
This is what normal feels like. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that's just the story about how cold it's been for much of the month that, we haven't seen very many nice days like today. If you enjoyed it this afternoon, or maybe you're a fan of the warmer weather, I've got good news for you, because this week is going to be your week with warmer temperatures on the way for much of the area here. Things are fairly quiet here on radar for tonight, and that's the way we'll be for a couple of nights, in fact. Low temperatures this evening drop back to about 31 here in Nashville, Murfreesboro in the upper 20s, Columbia and Lewisburg sitting in the upper 20s as well. Clarksville right around 29, and Hopkinsville at 30 degrees. We're going to talk more about this warmer weather that is on the way as we head into the middle to late part of the week. We're also tracking a pretty decent chance for rain later in the week as well. We'll time it out for you, and we're going to have a look at how much we could end up with. That's all coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Megan.
Well, getting the attention of the FBI, what has a Tennessee teen now facing charges?
And painting a very realistic picture, hearing firsthand the panic from inside Antioch High School.
In Operation Crime and Justice, the FBI arresting a Middle Tennessee teenager after they say that he planned to commit a mass shooting. 18-year-old Gunnar Fisher from Stewart County now faces charges. The FBI says that he made threatening posts and messages on social media that included a list of weapons, possible sites, and what appeared to be a manifesto. Fox 17 News has obtained the text of the posts that the FBI says show his disturbed emotional state and his plans for the shooting. If you'd like to read them for yourself, go to our website, fox17.com, and search Gunnar Fisher.
Our coverage of the deadly Antioch High School shooting continues now as Metro Police release some of the dramatic 911 calls from last Wednesday. Now, some of those calls came from inside the school, some from parents who had spoken to their children. A particularly emotional call came from a woman whose younger sister was in the Antioch High School lunchroom when the deadly shots rang out.
911, what's the exact location of your emergency?
The calls started coming in at 11:11, and they were coming one after another.
I'm a high school student at Antioch High School, and I was just in lunch, and approximately like 4 gunshots just went off.
4 gunshots at the school?
Antioch High School.
In reality, Metro Police say 10 shots were fired. Students inside were terrified, and that terror was shared by relatives like this woman who received a call from inside the school and in turn called 911.
I was just calling because to make sure you guys knew of the shooting at Antioch High School.
We've got a call. Are you there right now?
No, but my little sister is, and she just called me.
How old is your sister?
She's 17 years old.
Did she say she'd been shot?
No, she's fine right now, but she said that the shooter was in the cafeteria where she was currently at.
Did she tell you what the shooter looked like?
No, she couldn't see him. She was hiding, and she just called me to tell me.
In addition to fielding calls, the 911 operators doled out what could have been life-saving advice.
There's a whole lot of police officers on the way, okay? So what I want you to do, I want you to get to a safe place, okay? I don't want you to put yourself in any danger. Don't go back in. Make sure that you silence your phone device.
Now, to hear all the 911 calls unedited for yourself, go to the Fox Nashville YouTube channel. While you're there, we invite you to subscribe.
Well, new tonight, the special session of Tennessee state legislature underway, and the governor is asking lawmakers to address his school voucher plan and relief money for those impacted by Hurricane Helene. The first hours of the session already saw protesters in the gallery. They believe state lawmakers should address school safety and gun violence. The governor's school voucher plan would use taxpayer money to help pay for private school tuition.
All right, back to the weather. And Katie mentioned something a minute ago, and I was shocked. So today is normal. Today's what it ought to be like at this time of year?
Yeah, we just haven't had a lot of days that have been average or above average for the month of January, which we'll talk about a little bit more here coming up. Tomorrow morning we'll be in those low 30s for the beginning of the day. So for kids at the bus stop, still I'd say a nice jacket is a good idea. Lots of sunshine around. We're up to about 39 by 9 o'clock, and we'll top off tomorrow about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than where we were today. So I expect mid to upper 50s for tomorrow afternoon. Our trend of warmer weather will be with us for several days, it's looking like. We take a look here tomorrow around 55. We're at 60 for Wednesday. We stay above average for the next 7 days here. Our average line in yellow, and again that is about 50 degrees this time of year, but we could be approaching mid to upper 60s for Friday, and then again into early next week. So very much enjoying the more mild air compared to the cold weather that we've been dealing with for much of the month. Tuesday temperature right around 43 degrees at 10 o'clock, mainly sunny skies, and up to about 54 for the afternoon. That should be about where we top off for the day, and all the while we're looking at a nice sunny afternoon. As we get into the late part of the week, this is going to be our best rain chance here that we have for the next 7 days. Thursday into Friday, a high chance for showers and perhaps a few rumbles of thunder. Good 1 to 2 inches of rain looks possible. And right now, the good news is severe weather is not expected. So we walk you through timing. Future track takes us from 6 a.m. Thursday, a few showers by Thursday afternoon, and that'll be along the warm front as the warm front pushes north. northward. That'll be in turn to what brings us to the mid-60s by Friday. Here's 2 p.m. and notice scattered showers around. We'll find a few breaks throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. This is 6 p.m. Better chances of rain developing as we head late in the evening hours Thursday and into early Friday morning. So I'm expecting right now the bulk of this rain to move in very early Friday morning and stick around for part of the Friday morning commute. Behind that, cold front pushing through. This one really not too strong or potent in the way of cold air. Will cool down a little bit, but we're looking to stay in those 50s to 60s for the next 7 days. So through 5 o'clock on Friday evening here, anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain right now looks possible. That would be a good rainfall for us. But because we're looking at these showers to arrive as early as Thursday midday and continue through much of Friday and Friday night, I don't anticipate flooding to be a problem for us because it's going to be a slow accumulation where we see this rain. A lot of it, though, again, coming in very late Thursday into early Friday morning. Good to see these totals, though. Again, we're in need of rainfall, especially for those east of I-65 and south of I-40. We'll talk more about the weekend ahead, what we can expect. That coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Megan.
Well, a man accused of wearing a disguise in a Nashville Jewish community center faces more charges. The continued legal trouble.
A dispute over the weekend could mean that President Donald Trump uses the threat of tariffs more going forward. I'm Matt Gelke in Washington, and I'll explain coming up.
Looking ahead to day 2 of the special session in our state legislature, all the developments on the governor's push for school vouchers, plus other hot topics on the agenda starting at 4 a.m.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a Davidson County grand jury indicted a man that police say dressed up as a rabbi. Metro Police say that's Travis Keith Garland inside the Gordon Jewish Community Center wearing an Orthodox Jewish rabbi costume. Officers say he refused to leave and at one point eyed a security guard's gun, all while live streaming the whole thing. Garland telling officers this was just an internet prank. He has now been charged with civil rights intimidation.
New tonight, President Trump promised to increase import tariffs when he took office, and he is using that threat now as a negotiating tactic. Fox 17 News' Matt Galka shows us how the immigration roundups and the tariffs are now on a crash course.
Sunday started with Colombia's president rejecting repatriation flights the White House had touted Friday. Colombia had accepted almost 500 deportation flights from 2020 to 2024, but the use of military planes seemed to be the sticking point. Sunday ended with Colombia reversing course and offering their own plane for deportations. The move came after Trump threatened emergency 25% tariffs on all Colombian goods, along with a Colombian travel ban. The White House claimed victory in the clash, with a statement reading in part, "Today's events make clear to the world America is respected again." Trump has long seen tariffs as a deal-making tool he's promised to use in his America First agenda.
But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff.
Democrats bash the weaponization of tariffs on America's allies.
So you've got literally one of your best allies and partners that really likes the United States, and you've got a president who is going out there and antagonizing them.
The U.S. might hit Mexico and Canada with new 25% tariffs as soon as Saturday, as the president looks to tighten restrictions on migration, drug smuggling, and close a trade deficit gap. There could also be new tariffs levied on Chinese goods. The results from the weekend dispute with Colombia might embolden the administration to continue using tariffs as a threat.
President Trump gave away his strategy some years ago in his book, The Art of the Deal. Right, so basically, he's making a proposal. He'll wait for a counter proposal. He's asked for certain things from Canada, certain things from Mexico.
Tariffs are often passed on to the consumer, and experts are warning that new tariffs on Mexico and Canada could lead to hefty price spikes on everything from cars to food to gasoline. And Canada is also reportedly preparing their own retaliatory tariffs in response. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelke.
A history with police, the previous calls for help from the Antioch shooter's home.
I'm Janae Bowens in Washington with a look at the billions of dollars the federal government wasted on improper payments.
Fox 17 News is learning Metro Police responded to the home where the Antioch High School shooter lived multiple times in recent years. Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino with what she has uncovered surrounding 17-year-old Solomon Henderson.
Last week was certainly not the first time that officers visited the house on Carefree Lane in Antioch, according to this report of police calls. In October of 2021, police records show a report of a runaway juvenile from the house in Antioch. The minor returned the next day, according to MMPD. Police believe Henderson was living there at the time, but no confirmation since property records show the house is likely being rented. Fast forward to 2023. Officers say they confiscated 2 guns from the home where Henderson was living at the time. Those weapons were registered to adults. Police didn't go into much detail on the case because they say a minor was involved in that incident. Also in 2023, police say a suspected stolen vehicle was recovered at the address. Here's a call from an auto recovery company to MMPD.
Recently, we had a client report their vehicle stolen in California, and it is tracking in Antioch, Tennessee, where the address that we are showing is Carefree Lane.
Fox 17 News obtained these 2 in-depth writings that detectives are investigating as possibly from the shooter. In one entry, the writer mentions his home being searched, saying, quote, "I had my house raided once. They found a gun. It was mine, LOL. My dad took the blame." Another post made last November says, "Going to court at 1 p.m." After last Wednesday's shooting, police did search that house again, but didn't find any weapons. They have been in contact with at least one of Henderson's parents. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News.
Fox 17 News digging into the background of the Antioch shooter. You can see what we've uncovered on the Fox Nashville YouTube channel, and while you're there, we invite you to become a subscriber.
Well, everyone makes a mistake every now and then, but tonight the federal government in the hot seat. The latest figures show that Uncle Sam gave out nearly $170 billion in 2023. Fox 17 News' Janae Bowen's taking a closer look in tonight's Waste Watch report.
Billions blown on improper payments. The Government Accountability Office's latest report shows the federal government issued $161.5 billion in payments in fiscal year 2024 that should not have been made or that were made at an incorrect amount.
I put the fault at Congress here. It's not really cracking down and doing what it needs to do to reduce these erroneous and fraudulent payments.
Cato Institute's Chris Edwards says the large size of the government has made it impossible to keep up with.
The federal government actually runs more than 2,400 different subsidy and benefit programs. All of those programs have various degrees of error and fraud. I mean, Medicaid, for example, is a $600 billion program. It's got a fraud rate of over 10%.
It's a long-standing and significant issue. Since 2003, these improper payments have piled up to a total of $2.8 trillion. However, experts think it could be more since some federal agencies are not complying with guidelines mandated in the Payment Integrity Information Act of 2019.
Sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're going to take Doge to Mars.
Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency are supposed to be making a plan that will eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months. But Edwards says it's going to take more than that.
A lot of members of Congress don't want to crack down on this waste because they want to make benefits easy for recipients to get. And the easier you make the benefits to get, the less paperwork there is, and it's easier for cheaters to come in and take advantage.
With the national debt over $36 trillion and rising, experts warn the federal government can no longer afford to make these erroneous and fraudulent payments. In Washington, I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
Well, looking ahead to a full weekend of sports on Fox 17. First on Friday, it's men's college basketball. Indiana takes on Purdue. That game starts at 7.
And then on Saturday, more college basketball. Creighton taking on Villanova at noon. Then it's Michigan and Rutgers tipping off at 2:30. And on Fox 17 in primetime Saturday, more men's college basketball. You can see UConn, the Huskies versus Marquette starting at 7.
Well, and then on Sunday, we've got some women's college basketball. Tune in at 12:30 for an exciting matchup between USC and Iowa. That's Sunday right here on Fox 17.
Another chilly night ahead as temperatures drop back to the upper 20s to around 30 for early tomorrow morning. But a nice quiet night expected for us here. Next couple of days will be dry. So not too bad to get out and maybe get the car washed. We're looking at green light for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the rain arrives as we head towards Thursday, mainly Thursday midday and then into the evening hours. And then that'll continue as we head into Friday. Let's take a look at our numbers as we head through the overnight tonight. Again, right around 30 here in Nashville. We'll see upper 20s outside of those city centers. And as we head into tomorrow afternoon, right around lunchtime, we're in those upper 40s to low 50s. We'll look at mid 50s for the afternoon. Right around 2-3 o'clock, likely seeing our afternoon high. Murfreesboro around 55, Lewisburg 53 in Tullahoma. And McMinnville sitting at about 52 degrees. Going into late Tuesday night, early Wednesday, not as cold as where we will be for the tomorrow morning. We'll be in the mid-30s most likely here. So gradually seeing those numbers climb as we head into the middle to late part of the week. And that is setting the stage for, again, warmer weather by Thursday, Friday, but the chance for showers as well. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast and how it's looking as we head more into the beginning of February, taking a look at the temperature and the precipitation trends in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Megan.
Well, back on the pitch for Nashville SC, how the competition is heating up ahead of the MLS season.
And the Titans making a coordinator change, the new coach who will be leading the Titans special teams unit.
The Nashville Soccer Club spent the last 2 weeks in Florida to open up their 2025 preseason and are now back on the pitch to begin phase 2 right here in Nashville. Nashville SC returning to their training facility in Antioch today, the first of several practices this week. The club missed out on the MLS playoffs for the first time in 5 years. However, now they start their first full season under new head coach BJ Callahan. Callahan took over roughly halfway through last season and has been helping rebuild the club ever since. They begin phase 2 today, which means the competition kicks up for the new faces and a new midfield.
The second phase is all about competing for positions, competing for, the playing time that's going to come, and also just kind of getting the right mentality from the group to kind of gear ourselves up for when the regular season starts.
A lot of new personalities, which is fun. I'm excited to be back. First day kind of meeting guys that I don't know, seeing guys that were obviously here for the past year or two, and just excited to get going.
Boys in Gold already 2 games into their preseason schedule and have another big scrimmage this Saturday as they host USL Championship side Lexington SC at Geodis Park. Vanderbilt men's basketball team has been turning heads in SEC play, and now the Commodores are ranked for the first time since 2015. Vandy able to upset 9th-ranked Kentucky over the weekend, beating the Wildcats at home for the first time since 2016. As a result, Doors coming in at number 24 in the latest AP poll. And the Vandy women are ranked as well. They're coming in at number 23 following wins against Arkansas and Alabama. Tennessee Titans announcing several changes to their coaching staff today, including hiring new special teams coordinator John Fossil. Fossil takes over for Colt Anderson, who was not retained after 1 year with the team. Fossil has been an NFL special teams coordinator since 2009 and was most recently with the Dallas Cowboys. Well, the stage is all set for Super Bowl 59. In less than 2 weeks, Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles will go head-to-head in a rematch of Super Bowl 57 just 2 years ago. The Eagles cruised past the Washington Commanders in the NFC title game yesterday, winning 55-23. Meanwhile, the Chiefs continued their historic run to the Super Bowl, defeating the Bills 32-29. Chiefs already opening up as 1.5-point favorites. It will all go down February 9th, and you can watch it right here on Fox 17. Going to be a good one. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Coming up, we'll talk more about our forecast over the next couple of weeks, how it's looking for the first few weeks of February.
One of the largest reported cases of sexual misconduct in military history, the case surrounding a doctor under fire.
And the Art of the Buzz as a lead up to the Super Bowl, an exhibition of original electronic football games in Hendersonville. Suspected U.S. Army doctor is sentenced to more than 13 years in a military prison after pleading guilty to sexually abusing dozens of patients.
Well, his case is the result of one of the largest sexual misconduct investigations in military history. Tonight in Spotlight on America, Fox 17 News' Chris Daniels explains why this story is far from over.
My first actual appointment for care was with Michael Stockin.
This service member, who wanted to be anonymous, was seeking help for pain here at Joint Base Lewis McChord in 2022.
When do you know during the course of this appointment that something is off?
As soon as he asked me to, or directed me to drop my pants.
Because you're looking for relief from back pain.
Correct.
The 15-year veteran served throughout the U.S. and overseas and questioned what happened that day for nearly a year until he started to realize that he had been abused.
When you hear that there could be multiple people involved, what crossed your mind?
I was angry, but there's also some affirmation that no, it wasn't just me who got taken advantage of.
This is taking a toll.
My work performance has declined, and my interaction with my family has declined.
Stockin admitted to the crimes and pled guilty to 41 counts, ending with a dismissal from the Army and the maximum sentence, 164 months in prison, 4 months for each named victim.
We're talking about people who have devoted their lives for our country, and our Army let them down.
Attorney Ryan Giles represents 7 men who were assaulted by Dr. Stockin, but believes many others are out there and have remained silent.
Reporting sexual assault across the board, very difficult. Few victims are able to have the ability to come forward and to report. But for men, we know those numbers are even lower.
A recent survey estimated that 14,000 active duty men experienced unwanted sexual contact or sexual assault in 2023. Nearly 90% chose not to report their experience. Giles is raising concern about how the military identified victims in the Stockin case and says it failed to ensure they were given critical resources.
1 out of the 41 victims had a victim advocate. That's unacceptable. Half of the victims in this case didn't have a counsel, even though they have a right to one.
The criminal case against Stockin ends here, but there is a growing civil complaint seeking to hold the Army itself accountable, alleging it was negligent in hiring and supervising Dr. Stockin. More than 24 alleged victims are involved in that lawsuit.
And you went to the pain clinic?
Yes.
For this man, who has a 20-year military career as a senior enlisted soldier with multiple wartime deployments, there was solace in hearing from others who had been abused.
I would say that the only positive that came out of this for me was hearing the other victims and knowing that tragically there's some type of shared hardship in all of us out there.
Where do you go from here after going through this and the plea and the sentencing?
I go back to repairing my family and working on myself.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Chris Daniels.
Well, Michael Stockin's attorney telling Spotlight on America that he takes full responsibility for his actions and makes no excuses. We'll continue to follow this civil case as it moves through the courts.
Back to our weather now, Katie. There's been very little like normal like today. It's been sort of one extreme or the other.
Yeah, it really has. And we were looking at, I think now, because last Friday I checked, we were at about 70% of our days in January so far have been below average. I think that number's a little bit less now from the weekend because we were above average. So probably like 65% now of those days below average. And then the good news is for those that are not fans of the cold weather, we've got some warmer weather to talk about here. We'll start off with a pretty cold start to the morning in Crossville at 7 a.m. We're right around 26 degrees, 29 in Clarksville and Nashville, looking to be at about 30. So a cold start, yes, but we'll be warming up as we head through the afternoon. And here's the visual I was just talking about. All these days in blue, all these blue boxes, those are days that we were below average. In a lot of cases, too, we were well below average as far as our high temperatures are concerned. And these little orange boxes here, we did add at least 3 more for this past weekend and today as well. Was above average, sitting at 50 degrees. So we will likely see orange boxes for the rest. In fact, not likely, we will see orange boxes for the rest of January with temperatures above average here. This upcoming weekend, not looking too bad at all. First weekend of February. How about 58 on Saturday and Sunday in the low 60s with a partly cloudy sky. Really overall a nice weekend ahead to get out and about. Maybe take the day and go for a hike somewhere because it really is going to be great. And our rain chances remain slim through the weekend. Now, maybe a little soggy from the rain that we have on Friday, but we'll dry out as we head towards Saturday and more so on Sunday. We take a look then to February. So this is the 4th through the 10th. And this above average trend looks to continue for us with temperatures above average here in these red areas, including much of the southeast, and then the opposite true to the north and west with below average temperatures. And then we look at our rain chances here, slightly above average precipitation possible for us. So the trend in our pattern showing a little bit more active weather in the form of rain, perhaps a few thunderstorms in the mix. I don't see anything severe just yet, and what we'll have later this week, not expected to be severe either. But we are getting into that part of the year that we'll have to start to watch for that, especially when we have temperatures above average in those 60s and sometimes even into the 70s also. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Again, we go from 55 on Tuesday up to 60 on Wednesday. We stay in the upper 50s to around 60 for Thursday. Scattered showers around for Thursday and for Friday. A lot of Friday looking to be cloudy with those showers around. And again, highs topping off in the mid 60s there. But really, I think looking forward to this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, right around 60 degrees, sunshine, not too bad. And we'll look to be quite mild even into early next week with a high near 65.
Underway, what you need to know about this year's tax season.
Also had an ode to football, sort of poetry in motion, where you can see some original electronic football games for free.
New tonight, your federal taxes are not due now for a few months, but today marks the official start of tax season. This is the first day that you can submit your 2024 income tax returns. The IRS recommends that you file electronically to get your refund faster. Most refunds come within 3 weeks, but filing by paper could take 4 weeks or longer.
Well, just in time for the Super Bowl, a couple weeks out, a display of classic electronic football games in Hendersonville. It's called the Art of the Buzz, and you'll understand why. It's at the Monthaven Arts and Cultural Center. If you had one of these kinds of games as a kid, you understand the name. Magnetized players from competing teams mixing it up as a motor gently shakes the metal playing field below. Ron Mango is responsible for this custom model of Nissan Stadium, really something to see. And there it is. Most of the other games are on loan from the National Electronic Football Game Museum in Spring Hill. This exhibit is free and it runs all the way through February 16th. Do you guys have any memory of those kind of games? You know, brothers or whatever?
I vaguely remember. Yeah. Not a lot personally of me playing on them, but I agree.
Believe it or not, they apparently still make them. They're not nearly as popular, you know, with the advent of video games. So back in the day, that was pretty cool. You turn it on and the players start to shake.
Before we had the iPads and
right. All the good stuff.
We were living in those
This is what entertains
vintage
children.
days.
There you go.
Well, under recall, the issue bringing thousands of Kias in for repairs.
A recall alert tonight involving 80,000 Kia vehicles.
Well, it involves wiring and airbag issues. Kia says the floor wiring under the front passenger seat can become damaged, preventing seatbelts and airbags from working correctly.
The recall is for 2023 through 2025 Niro EV plug-in hybrid and hybrid vehicles. Kia America plans to inspect, replace, and reroute that wiring harness for free for their customers.
Cutting back on candy, koozies, and any other unnecessary spending. I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. Coming up, the new bill taking aim at ad campaigns within federal agencies.
The shortage in our blood supply continues. I'm Liz Bonus. Why the high demand and the low supply? We share what we all need to know and how we can make a difference just ahead.